In this video, I'm going to introduce you to Excel. Excel is a data analysis platform or package that you can use to do several things. Okay, that has to do with data, how you can analyze data, how you can deal with graphs, how you can plot charts, how you can do so many things that has to do with data, how you can make informed decision after you create a proper Excel package that can help an institution like a school, like maybe a mini supermarket, and any business for that matter. Okay, so that is what Excel is used for. So it's actually a way of doing data analysis. So if you want to get into data analysis, having a good knowledge of Excel is very important. Okay, so let's get right into it. So once you open an Excel package or an Excel file or an Excel program, so it opens up like this. Okay, so here you can create a new or a blank workbook. So the entire thing is known as workbook, where you have one worksheet. Okay, so as you can see right here, so it's full of boxes. A grid, it has a grid layout. So let's look at the top here, where you have home, inserts, draw, page layout, formulas, data, review, view, help. So these are all menu items. Okay, so you have the main one, you have the first one, which is file. So you click on it, you have several things you can do here, like create a new file, open a new one, and so many things you can see right here at the left side. Okay, so now when you get into Excel environment, you see grid-like view. So you have it numbered with have it listed with numbers, or it's arranged in numbers, like here 1 2 3 up to a whole lot of up to, it's more than actually a million rows you have. So what you have numbered, they are rows. What you have with alphabet, they are they are columns. So a row and a column where they join is known as a cell. That in a cell, where all these boxes you are having, you are seeing, they are known as cell. So each cell has its own name. So as you can see, you see that this one is J10, as you can see right here. Okay, look at that. So J10. So it is named in the name box. It appears in the name box. So here is J16. So if you look at the name box here, you see that it's also 16. So here is D14. So you see that it is D14 that is represented there. All right, so and so on and so forth. So that's how you have it, and those are very important things to note. So here you have formula bar. So we are going to do a whole lot of things here as we get along in this tutorial. All right, so now if I click on D1, so let me just type something here. So you see that it shows up at the formula bar. Okay, so if I do something else elsewhere, for example in C1, so you can see that it shows up there as well. Okay, so wherever I click on, you see the name shows. If I type anything in E1 now, see that E1 shows up there. Okay, so now that doesn't mean that it is a formula. So I'm going to see the difference in a moment. Okay, so now I have 1 2 3 there. See that it shows at the formula bar. So it's just a way of representing it, but that's actually what it's going to show if you have a formula. So let me add a little formula in G1. So as you can see here. Okay, so if I enter 7 plus 8, then I do equal to, and I enter. Okay, so you can see that it is not 15 that shows up there. It is the formula that shows at the formula bar. So what we are saying is that in that area, that formula environment, it is only formula that shows there. But if there's no formula, whatever text you have within the box will show there. I hope that is clear. All right, so that's what you have here. So if you are doing anything in Excel, any formula in Excel, it must start with equal to sign. Okay, so you see the various rows. Like I said, it's more than a million rows that you have in Excel. So many. We are going to see how you can actually see the total number. So you can see that if you see the total number of it is more than a million. Look at it there. So you press Control down arrow. Okay, so Control down arrow, it goes to the last row. Okay, so that's what you have there. All right, so then you also have, you can also see the number of, you can see that the columns are a lot too. The columns are more than 16,000 columns. Okay, so you can also get to see the last column. So by pressing Control right arrow. So as you can see here, so the last arrow is XFD. So for the sake of maybe you want to write a test on this on Excel, so this normally comes out in Excel. How do you get the last row? How do you get the last column? Okay, so let's enter some numbers here. So you see that is number. You have this serialized numbering here. So you can actually write numbers in Excel in this form. So instead of it to be repeating it here, now if I want to repeat what I've written before, so I can click on the edge. You can see that little edge there, just like you have in text. I want to repeat the number. I mean, so several tests here. I want to repeat that text within the other boxes underneath it. So I'll just click on that little arrow, that little dot right there at the bottom right. Okay, so now, but if you are doing that for a number to have a serial look or outlook, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to 10 or whatever number you want to do, so you can press Control, then you click on that little arrow, little box at the bottom right, bottom right. So you can see that little arrow there. So you can see that it shows 1, 2, 3 up to 11 based on what I did. So you can also do it with, for example, if the need arises, you want to create things like the days of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday up to Sunday, for example. Instead of typing it one by one, so you can also do the same thing by typing the first one that you wish, then put your cursor at the bottom right with that little arrow there, and you just drag it down, and it also show it as you can see here. Right, so then you can format. Now you can see that the Wednesdays is encroaching into the another cell. So what you can do, that you can drag it right to expand it more. So you can also do same thing that we did before on January. So January, instead of you to say February and be doing it manually, so with Excel, this thing is built into it, that if you click on that little dot there, look at it. So let it turn to dark black and just drag it down. So note that in this one you don't need to press Control. It is when you are dealing with numbers that you could do the press Control for it to take effect. So just drag it down, it will automatically increment it basically. Okay, so these are just basic stuff regarding basic things regarding Excel. So because the idea of computer is to make things easy or easier than we used to do them. So if you have been doing it the wrong way, so you can automate this process by following what I just said. All right, so that settles that area. Okay, so now the next thing we need to do is we are still at the very basic in there. So let me type this long text here. So this is a new and long text as I have it in a D14. So you see that it encroaches in the other cells. Okay, or yes, other cells. So instead of me to be dragging it up and down here, which will cause an error moving forward or delay you. So there's a way to just automate that by just clicking on that right edge at the column header there. So if you click on it, it will automatically adjust the entire thing to fit the text or the longer text. Okay, so now you can also add a new row by right clicking on at the left there, as I just did, and click on insert. So it will insert a new. You can also insert a new column by right clicking on any of the columns and you click on insert. Okay, so you can remove that. All right, so if you want to just do Control Z. Okay, so let me add something here. This is a new worksheet, so you can see that it also encroaches from B to C. Okay, so let me edit this, change just like you can do with other packages like Microsoft Word. So most of those things are here in terms of editing the text. So just added that. So then you can see all the various menus that we talked about earlier. They have their sub menus, or what people call some books called ribbon. So you can see where you have within the ribbon, you have the under the home, you have several things there. Then inside you also have other things, other menu items or sub menu if you like. Okay, so That's what you have there. So if you want to make changes, you can go to the home and you see so many things you can deal with there, and you can do them. Okay, so let's change the text color. So you can change it there just like we do in Microsoft, or then change the font, the size of the font of the text. So you can see that it's bigger. But in encroaches, you can see that it encroaches on D, encroaches on C, then like that. So what we'll do is to look for a way to group them. So you can group them by going to by right clicking, then you go to a format cell, then look for merge cells. There's it's an easier way to do this, which we're going to see in a moment. So you can see how it looks. So sort of undid what I did before. Alright, so you put it at the middle by clicking on that center icon there, then adjust the font size so it looks like this. So this one gives it some kind of heading to make it look better. Okay, this is just introduction. We're going to do better things more than this. Okay, so we are just trying to play around and see how it is. So if you go to view, now you see that it is a grid-like environment. Like I said earlier, you can actually remove the grid by going to view. You see this grid line, then just uncheck it. So you see that it is now plain, like just as if it's Microsoft Word. Okay, so those grids are out. If I click on it again, it comes back. So you can do that if you want to, if that is what you want to do. You can just enable and disable that, but by default it's enabled. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Okay, so so you can, if you look at this top here, you can see this merge and center that you have there. So you can also change the background color, like you can see here. So let's just give it a very light green, the background color. So if you do that, then the next thing we'll do is to change the text. So you go back here while it is still highlighted, come back here and make changes like that. I think it looks better now. Okay, all right, so we have been able to enter some text in the various boxes or cells. So now if you look at this area, you see that you can create a new sheet. Like I said, by default is 1, so you can change the text of the sheet by double clicking on it and give it a name. I just gave it basic calculation. Okay, so I also give it a heading. So we've done this before, so it's easy to do now. So just go through the process very quickly. Then you go to that merge center and change it to merge cells. So you can see that it is basic calculation is there. All right, so I'll quickly just add the various headings on this one. So we want to deal with addition, want to deal with subtraction, then multiplication and division. So I'll add various numbers here. So here I have 23, 45, then 3. So note where they belong. So 23 belongs to A3 as the name of that box, as you can see. So then the number 3 there has A5 as the box name, or as the name of the cell, which can be seen as variable for those who write program or develop applications, or when you write code. All right, so in order to do any calculation in write any formula in a cell, you have to start it with equal to. So if I want to add these ones manually now, we just say 3 plus, that's equal to 3 plus 45 plus 3. 23 plus 45 plus 3 gives me 71, as you can see. But this is a bad thing to do, because if I change the text there, it doesn't affect the result. So what I need to do is to deal with this thing from the variable perspective, or using the name box, using the name of these boxes that you have. So we'll practically have things, something like x, y, s plus y plus z, for example. Okay, so in this case, I will now say equal to A3, then, which is, you can see the box is highlighted as soon as I put A3. Then I will now say plus A4. So if I enter A4, so you see that it's also highlighted, as you can see. Then if I now say A5, that's plus A5, like that. Then if I press enter, it will give me 77, which is correct. So the good thing is, if I make any change in the text, so that it affects it automatically. Okay, so as you can see here, so if whatever change I make to the figures, like this one, see that it affects it like that. So as I increase it, it changes it. So that makes itself very viable, very very great to use. It's a very robust environment. So you can see that. So now you can make other changes by going back to the formula and make some changes. Now instead of me using this plus A3 plus A4 plus A5, that's a very tedious thing to do. What if it's a long thing? So you can use a function called sum. So just say equal to, like I said, you must start whatever formula you want to enter using the equal to sign. So if you now say sum, then open that's equal to sum, open a bracket, then A3, then the last one, now say column, the last A5. So we are using a range feature now, so it will calculate. You don't need to enumerate them. You can see that you have A column, A3 column, A4 within the sum function, so it will automatically group and add everything together. Okay, because we use the range feature of Excel. All right, so instead of it to say A plus this plus that, so just put the first one, separate it with a column, and the last one. So even if there are 10 things you need to add, it automatically add all of them. Okay, so let's work with subtraction. I hope that is clear. So let's work with subtraction. So just like we did before, so just quickly I did that so it looks better. Okay, so then for subtraction, it's also very easy to do, just like we have done with addition. So on subtraction, what you do, just say equal to, open a bracket, B4 minus B5. So then minus B4, B3 rather, B3 minus B4 minus B5. So that gives you negative minus 88, of course. That's what you have there. Now, this is just a test, so it's not going to be anything serious. We're going to go to more serious things, but just stay with me, get familiar with this thing. So let's deal with the multiplication. All right, so on the multiplication, just add the same number, so as you can see. So you now say, see, note where what we are picking. Okay, so it is not more B or A, it is now C. So C3 times C4 times C5 gives you 46,552, okay, as the result. Then go for division, just like we have done for this. Go for division. So on that of division, so we'll now say, well, we are within the D column now. So it will now be D3 divided by D4 divided by D5. So it gives you 0.01. So you can try this one with your calculator. So you can see that it gives you the, like I said, this is just us playing around to get ourselves familiar with an Excel environment and some of the things that it is capable of. Okay, so having done that, let's do the last thing for this video. So we are going to work with basic logic. Okay, so next is basic logic. So let's see how we can deal with basic logic using Excel. Okay, so now logic is a way of determining what should happen or what and what not should happen. All right, for example, you can say if this is this, do that. If the other one, do that, and so on. So what we're going to do is that we're going to just set up some numbers. So we have something like number 1, number 2, and so on. So like this, just quickly set this one up. So you have number 1, you have number 2. All right, so now you have it within B and C columns, as you can see here. All right, so just quickly format this. All right, so now the logic is that we want to test whether number 1 is greater than number 2. That is the value of number 1, whether it's greater than the value of number 2. So we have a remark to test this. So we use an if statement. So you can see that it has logic test. Okay, so we're going to now see that B3, you can see that the space where you have 5 and 3 is B3 and C3. We're going to see that if B3 is greater than, remember your basic arithmetic in school, where you have the greater than sign. So you are saying that if B3 is greater than C3, so we should write out something like a text to say number 1 is greater than number 2. Okay, so like you can see here, so it's just a way of testing it. I'm going to do something greater than this later, but better than this later. But this should give you an idea of what we can do with Excel. So we are testing now. So if you look at what we have, so it shows that number 1 is greater than number 2. So let's fill in. So if you have entered any formula, so just click on the little box there and drag it down, so you can see that it automatically calculates the rest one and gives you a report or a remark based on what we are dealing with. All right, so now we have, so you can extend this one. So if you look at this now, you can extend it to other things. For example, if it is not greater than, what should happen? So now we now say if B3 is greater than C3, do this. Then what if it is not? So you should write out that it is not greater than, like you can see here, see that the line 5, that is, yes, line 5 is not greater than. So that's why it's saying that num1 is not greater than num2. So let me drag this one down to see what you have right there. So you can see it here. All right, so you can do more. There's a lot that you can do here. All right, so what we can do here is that we want to do more tests. I want to put some logical stuff here, logical test here. So we see here that if B3 is equal to, because it is possible that the two numbers are the same. Okay, so in this case, we now say if B3 is equal to C3, then we now say we should write out num1 is same as num2. So as you can see right here. Okay, all right, so we're getting towards the end of the video. So that's what you have so far. So let me show it to you clearer. Okay, so let's examine this. So if you look at it, you see that if B3 is greater than C3, then num1 is greater than num2. Then now say that if that's not the case, if so as you can see here, num1 greater than num2, then if B3 is greater is equal to C3, then num1 is same as num2. Then otherwise num1 is not greater than num2. Of course, you can do more with this. You can just, based on what we have done so far, you can use that idea to do more. Just try what you can do with that. Okay, so that is what you have. So you can drag it down and add more numbers to it like this. So you can see that now that because they are empty, so you see that num1 is same as num2. But if I enter numbers here now, see that you see how it's changing automatically based on the formula that we have added before. I mean, we have added. So as you can see the way it is. So if you look at that, okay, so that simply settles it. So we have covered the basic things, basic calculation, then basic logic. We're going to do more in the next one, the next essay video that we're going to provide. So I hope you learned something here. So don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like the video and share it. Thank you and see you in another video.